Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, The Universe Listens.
We cherish that. We love that particular piece of it because
teach people like, hey, it's okay, change.
New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. And today's topic is leading with love. Now, I know we talk about love on a regular basis, but it's so important. So let me send my love out to Ron,
hey,
Rodney,
hey,
and Steven. So thank you guys for being here today. Talk about this topic of love, loving everything. And when I say everything, I mean people, our bodies, money, what else? Everything. Nature. So why do you guys think it's so important to love everything?
Well, I think you got to first start with, if you believe that you're connected to everything, then you instantly want to love everything, because if I'm connected to it, I instantly want to give it love. Because I don't want to put anything negative or any harm towards anything that is also a part of me.
I would say love just transforms everything of how you see things. Love can make you appreciate things a lot more, make you change your viewpoints on how you see things, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Love can put you in a state of mind of more abundance instead of lack. And this can go on with love,
Yeah, I agree. Everything is better with love.
Yeah.
Everything feels better with love.
And it's funny what you just said, because, like if your child do something, it's like, it's okay, but if somebody else's child do the same thing, you be like, that little brat.
Right.
So I need to beat his butt.
Yeah, and I think we actually do that often too. It's so easy to love something that is connected to you, like when you instantly identify as connected to you, but the minute something frustrates you, you kind of want to disconnect it. So I think the way that we disconnect that from ourselves is to call it different names. So we start name calling it. Now all of a sudden the kid's a brat. Now they're spoiled. Now they're this. Now they're that. But if you saw them as a part of you, you wouldn't say any of that stuff about it.
Yeah, it's like when you see someone that you love, it's a whole different feeling. Like, hey, I love you. When you see somebody that you don't love, you don't pay attention to them, or you have no feelings towards them.
Oh, that's a good one right there. Like, because a lot of times we see people and we don't have any feelings towards them.
Mm-hmm.
So, dang.
But that's what you just said with that though. It makes me think like, when I'm driving, if I'm in the city and, I see a homeless person on the side of the road, I sort of do now have more feelings for like, how they going or how they feeling, or if I was in that person's shoes, how would I feel? And if I have, versus beforehand, I would just be at the light with the straight face, no feelings at all. But now it's just coming more out of a space of love. It just makes me feel like, okay, I look more into how a person is feeling, or I put myself in their shoes, and how would I feel if I was in that person's shoes, and I'm asking for help, So with love, it makes you feel a whole lot different, and you sort of you level yourself up in a different way. You know, it feels good, but it's strange at first. You know? It is strange, especially if you never came from a place of just pure love. But yeah, you're not gonna look at strangers and just like no feelings.
I know, and I think what you said really hit home for me because I always, like everybody I see, I speak to, right? And it's like, but I wait for eye contact. So I'm not, if they're not looking at me, I don't speak, but I like look at them. And then they don't speak, and I'd be like, how did they just walk past me and they didn't even speak? Or whatever, because I guess in that moment I'm feeling like I was ignored, like it didn't even matter that I was there, I wasn't seen or whatever. And so just imagine walking through the world being unseen. And that we are the person that's doing that to other people. We're not seeing them and we're not loving them. So that's like that just really hit home for me. Like, but when we say love everything, that's just it. To love everything. Everybody you see, everybody you don't see. Everything you see, everything you don't see. Like to love everything. And that's the game changer. Like that's what's going to make a quantum leap in your life, because the more you flow love out, the more it comes back to you. And everything has its own energy, but everything responds to the energy of love. So whatever it is that you want, it's going to flow to you because you're loving it.
You never realize how much you can help people by just loving them. You know, like I could be, may not be feeling the best that day, but I may have plans to be with friends later. Instantly, that energy of love that me and my friends have instantly makes me feel better.
And that's true, because everybody responds to love, and even like the people on the street, like the energy of love is more powerful than let me help you out.
Right.
Because nobody really wants to be fixed per se, but everybody wants to be loved.
And I came to love the hard times and situations that come across my way in life. Because I learned that if I'm coming from a place of love, my view on the situation that I feel is hard or challenging, my perspective on it changes. So I'm coming more from a place of like, okay, all right, I'm learning something. That's how I feel. Like I'm learning something from it. So it's a good feeling. It's just overall, it's more better just to love and be in that space for yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy how thinking about loving someone can change your thoughts on things. Like my brother lived with me, so he could leave some dishes and all the trash or something like that. And I just black out like, man, you and then I remember like, I love him. Why am I talking to him like this? And why am I making him feel like that when I love him? And then, you just got a whole different feeling about it. After you remember, I love this person.
I think also too with that, man. I got family members that I sit back and, I come from a place of love, but, they may get on my nerves. They may ask me for some things, and I'll be like, you think you just asked me? But for the most part, same thing. It's just coming from a place of love. If I didn't love them more.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I agree too. I think when you acknowledge that you love the person or the situation, it sets a certain baseline to where it can't go but so far now. So now, no matter how upset I get with you, I know I can't go but so far because I still have this barrier of I love you and I love everything about you. So no matter how much you upset me, it's only gonna go to this level. Like we're never getting down here. So I think that's always important to always keep that love as well.
So that reminds me of something that you just said a little bit ago, but you said it more forcefully a little bit ago. But like when we think about people that we don't know, then it's easy for us to, if we walk into the space like I don't know them so therefore I don't love them, then it's easy for us to dehumanize them and to, you know, put all kinds of things on them that's not even true. If you knew that person, then you wouldn't say those things about them. And so I do think that that's like one of the most important things we can do in terms of like human relationships, is to remember that everybody's a part of you, everybody's a part of divine, and no matter how it looks on the surface. And they might not be realizing or remembering who they really are. And so it's for us to remember who they really are. And as we flow out love to people, they will start to respond to that.
Yeah, and I think we should hold ourselves accountable for that too. Whenever we feel like we're judging somebody, take a step back and make sure that you're not judging them, but more so judging maybe the actions or the actual thing that you might be upset with in that moment. And then take a step back from that and remove that judgment as well. And just understand that everybody has a different perspective, and how it looks to you could look completely different on the other side.
And I will also add, like the whole thing about, because you mentioned homeless people. So I know like twice in recent times, I've seen these young homeless girls, and you can tell, like one of them, you can tell that she was kind of like prostituting, and the other one, you could just tell she had just been on the street, you know, like, or whatever. And so instantly my heart went out like, oh, poor babies. And I had to pull that energy back, right? Like, that's not the energy that you want to send out to people. Because if I'm seeing them like that, then that's the only way they can see themselves as well. And so instead to pour out, oh my gosh, like I know you're a divine being and you're going to step into your own and your divine time. And like you say, just offering that love, like just the energy of love towards them, it's going to change it. And honestly, the last little girl I saw, the one that looked like she was prostituting, and I was just like, oh, poor baby. And I could feel her feel me think that. If that makes any sense at all. Like I felt her feel that, and I was like, oh, and then I started sending her love, and I was like, you're a queen, you know, like I just started in my brain, just in my mind, just saying different things to her or whatever. So just to remember that people can feel your energy, and the lack of energy can be almost just as harmful as negative energy.
That reminds me of the conversation we was having before about like on Facebook, people make posts, hey, I'm sick and I'm going through this and that, right. This and that, and you made me think about the fact that when we read that, we seeing them as that. So that's the energy we sending. And instead of alternative, people could just put, y'all love me today, or send me love today, or something like that, instead of, you know, because when we hearing that you're sick, you're in the hospital, and that's how I'm viewing it. Yeah. Like, I'm picturing this person sick, and not picturing them healthy and happy, and not sending that love that way.
And then just think about how many people are now holding you in that image of sickness.
Yeah, that's very true. It made me think what you were saying of that, like, we're forgiving, like, a lot of homeless people I run into. When I give, it's not coming from, like, I try not to anyway, but for the most part, I've been more thinking of, like, this is, like, my brother, or this is my family member, so when I'm giving to them, it's like, hey, man, how you doing? I have a little conversation with them, and what you need, you know, and they'll tell me what they need, and I go ahead and give it to them, versus, like, being, you know, sad for them, or, you know, showing pity. So it sort of makes me feel a little bit more good, and just opens me up to being more in that space.
I don't want to make the conversation about homeless people, but
right.
I was just sitting here thinking as well. I was talking to a friend who she had just recently moved to Richmond about a month or two ago, right. And so she does some job, was like works through the city or whatever. So she ran into a couple of people who were just in between blessings, and so she was like, yeah, it's this one guy. Do you know him? And she said a name, but it's like this homeless person is like one, like most people in the city know or whatever. So I was like, yeah, like most people know him. It's just like, well, how do they know him? I was like, you know, honestly, because when you think about it, if you take a step back, he ain't nothing but you. I was like, you know, he is, I look at him and I see myself if a different journey had happened or if I was born at a different time or different things, just anything different. And when I said that, she was like, yeah, I guess that's true. I can see like my uncle or somebody in there. I was like, yeah, like the minute you start, it's like the minute you attach that love and you put it to something that's close and like relative to you, everything just, it's just blasted.
And then too, like a lot of times, like if someone does something bad, let's just say if you know, are a child molester, or they may have molested you, or maybe a murderer, or just things that we consider bad, like we don't want to send those people loving energy, and we can't believe that they are part of the divine, right? Even though we logically know that God is in everything and God is everywhere, but we want to cut them off from that. But if you think about, everything really does have a divine purpose, and that everything is evolving. So this very person who did whatever they did, you have no idea the ripple effects that person, that actions of that person has had in the world. So you may think, well, this was a negative action, so it had negative effects. Like, they molested me, and because they molested me now, you know, I'm not trusting, and, you know, you can think about all that stuff. But also, like, a lot of times the opposite is true. Like, because that happened to you, because maybe you felt powerless, now you are a powerful person. Or because that happened, now you pay more attention to your own children. Like, you know, you give them more love and care and attention than you would have had that not happened. So it's like a lot of positive things will come out of this negative thing that has happened.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Thinking on it, even from like a very grand standpoint, you know, as harsh as it sounds, like if racism didn't exist, we don't get the great leaders like Malcolm and Martin and Sojourner Truth and Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman. So I guess even in the things that we see as evil, there's always so much good that comes from it all. So I guess to just remove that label of evil is so.
For me, I like it actually when I run into situations as to where somebody is being difficult, or they're coming from a space of negativity, because they may approach me in a way as to where it's like they're waiting to see my reaction to something, right? And they have this expectation of a certain reaction, but I come with love, so it's sort of counteracts what they're doing. But in those type of situations, it's not difficult. It's more of like, okay, I'm gonna help this person, basically teach them how to love just by doing what I'm doing, you know, because I'm coming to them with love, and I'm like, it's like that. You know, what's going? So it sort of confuses them, but then their whole attitude changes, their whole vibes change, and then later on down the road, you never know. It might be another situation they run across, and somebody doing them the exact same way. So then they're going to remember that. All right.
Lead with love.
Lead with love, right.
And it's not too many things that someone else has done to you that you haven't done to someone else.
Right. But love is it's a beautiful thing. We just have to just be, I would say, be aware on an everyday basis. Remind ourselves daily, like, hey, you know, when I leave this house today, I'm coming with love. Before I leave, I'm coming with love.
Yeah, and we spend most of our time talking about loving people, which is so important.
Right.
But also loving everything, you know, loving your body. We recently talked about that. Loving money, we recently talked about that. Loving what you do, loving your creations, like really taking the time to love it, not to just walk past it, not to just be in a routine and a ritual, but to take the time to give it love, to take the time to look at the trees and to love it, the stars, love the sun, love, your furniture, love the car that you drive, love the bills that you have to pay. Because if you have bills to pay, that means you probably have possessions that you love. So love the bills, love, just anything you can see around you. Slow down time enough to, what was the little thing, like the color purple, and they're like, flowers, get upset because you don't see the color purple or something like that. But yeah, take the time, just slow it down. Take the time to love everything that's around you. And when you do that, you're opening up the door, you're allowing things to flow to you. Everything responds to that vibration of love. So it's a game changer.
It is.
Any closing comments?
I would like to challenge everyone to find something each week that you think of as difficult and try leading with love.
I like that.
I like that a lot. I would just say again to love, first acknowledge that everything is a part of you.
It helps with the perspective shift.
Every day you walk out that house, you better suit up in love.
Terrific. So I love that episode. So thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.
And look forward to talking to you all again next week.